I recently ran into this really interesting article that posits that Pokemon TCG simulators, either online, on your phone, or somewhere in between, are a great way to help you quote-unquote collect cards. And I think there are both major benefits but also significant drawbacks to that statement. So, in today's video, we'll evaluate the argument. But before we do, let's roll that intro. Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, we talk about Pokemon TCG simulators, how they can help you collect cards, and what they're fundamentally missing in terms of that classic pack opening experience that many of us grew up on. Now, today's video, as always, is based on a Screen Rant article, so the link to that will be down below. If you like today's video, or any of the thoughts or opinions that I have in today's video, definitely feel free to leave a like. It's the easiest way to help push this video out to more people and get it picked up by the algorithm. Of course, if you really like today's content and you want to support the channel a little bit more, consider subscribing. It's the easiest and freest way to help the community continue to grow, and I would greatly appreciate it. But with all that said, let's jump right on into today's article. How a Pokemon TCG simulator can help you collect cards. So, the article starts off by saying that there are now a bunch of simulators that exist and that they've, helped TCG fans to help build up their collections. Now, despite being originally released in the late 90s as a in-person physical trading card game, obviously the popularity of the card game has skyrocketed in 2020. There's thousands of new cards released every day or every year rather, and there are a lot of very overwhelming things that can happen in any given scenario on any given year. Just as an example, in 2021 alone, there were 5 mainline card sets that hit stores, and that didn't even include special expansions like Shining Fates, Celebrations, blah blah blah. As a result, Pokemon TCG fans are now turning towards TCG simulators to help them collect their favorite cards. Now, couple of thoughts right off the bat. The first is that there are a lot of card sets that get released. That is one thing that this article hits right on the head, spot on. There's a lot that goes on any given year, any given month, any given release for the Pokemon trading card game. You could isolate it down to literally one specific set and really kind of take it all in. Most sets nowadays are anywhere from 150 to 250 cards. That alone is enough that it can be a gigantic pain in the neck to go ahead and try to pull. And that's why at times the modern Pokemon trading card game can feel very overwhelming. I think that the argument that as a result fans are turning towards sims to help collect their favorite cards doesn't really make a lot of logical sense though, because if it was overwhelming in person or physically and the online version is quite literally just online instead of physical, then it's still equally as overwhelming, competing with a variety of different sets, a variety of different pulls, a variety of different pull rates. The only good news is that, and we'll get into this a little bit later, you're not spending money and you're not physically having to deal with the volume of waste as well as card management that goes into physically collecting Pokemon cards. So, moving on in this article, one of the first ever TCG sims was the trading card video game. Now, this is a video game that came out on Game Boy Color, I believe. I did play this game when I was a kid, and it was actually a pretty cool trading card game. Now, obviously, you did have to pay to purchase the video game. The video game was an official Nintendo product. And basically, it allowed you to open packs, pull rare cards, and then build decks and battle other players. So realistically speaking, this was the prototype and the forerunner for every trading card game simulator that has existed after it. Now, over a decade later, TCG simulators have made major advances, and now several sims even exist as online websites that are completely free. So instead of running straight to the store, many TCG fans just go to these websites, get a few packs, quote unquote, and then, you know, eventually they're able to open some packs and simulate opening individual booster packs from new expansions. They also go on to note that fans looking to collect a certain TCG expansion can go on these sites and click on a specific set, and the simulator will then randomly draw 10 Pokemon cards from the expansion, similar to the format of the official booster packs. These sims not only act as a direct database for each Pokemon card that has ever been released, but they also include a wealth of different features. You are able to track every card that you've pulled so far. Moving on from there, although it's impossible to know the exact TCG poll rates, many card sims gather data online to get a rough estimate of the odds and percentages of cards being pulled, and then with the help of user-submitted data as well, simulations give fans a rough estimate of how hard it is to actually pull cards from the expansions. So a collector trying to find the, V-Star Charizard Rainbow will likely run into a very realistic idea of how many packs they would need to open before running into that particular Pokemon. So let's jump back and just briefly chat on some of this stuff. So I think the statement that these sims act as databases is valid. The only thing is that there are databases that exist like Pokelector that are completely free to use as well, and equally just as valid without the sim component. So if the argument is that a sim is also a database, well, there are also databases that are not sims. One thing that I do think is important to note is that similarly with this idea of tracking every card that you've pulled so far and making a list of cards you need to obtain, there are literally apps for that. There are literally websites that will do the same for you. So again, if the argument is that you're taking this stuff online because there are these many features that the physical trading card game does not have, there are ways to augment your experience. Just as an example, I use an app to help me keep track of my binders, and what's really great about this app is that it'll break it down by commons, uncommons, rares, hyper rares, and basically tell me how many I have, how many I don't have, what percentage I need complete, and it'll basically help me do basically everything that is being claimed to get done in Sims here. There is a little bit more manual work involved, but I think that's a critical part of the hobby because obviously there is no way to automate that right now. The other thing with this is about this simulation business. So there's a great argument here that I think is very valid, right? There are many folks out there who for one reason or another won't be able to purchase a stupid amount of packs and just go after this Rainbow Rare Charizard. And so what's great is that they too get an opportunity to experience what it would be like opening up a pack and getting that V-Star Rainbow Charizard. The problem, however, is exactly what I just said. Someone could go on there and basically just keep opening packs because many of these websites are free and just continue to pound down on packs until they get that card. Now, while it's great because you can simulate the experience, one of the real critical aspects of the physical trading card game that I think gets overlooked a lot is this idea of scarcity. So, as much as I talk about it on this channel, every time you open a pack of Pokemon cards, you are quite literally financially invested in that pack because you paid X amount of dollars for that pack. And therefore, on any given day, you only have so many packs to open up. Unless you had an infinite amount of money, you couldn't buy all the Pokemon card packs in the world and open them up like you theoretically can do on one of these simulators in order to pull yourself a Rainbow Rare Charizard V-Star. So if you're looking at it from the collector's perspective, the idea of scarcity is taken away here. Because on the website, they can make an infinite number of these, right? The thing is that in the real world, and in specifically real-life Pokemon cards, there's only so many Rainbow Charizards that are ever going to be printed. And more importantly, there's only ever so many packs you're going to be able to get your hands on. Therefore, when you finally pull that card or a similar type of card, it becomes a far more rewarding experience than if you were to just go on a simulator and continue to hit the button until you pull it. So that is something to bear in mind. Moving on, while Pokemon TCG poll numbers are not new, for some Pokemon fans, simulations have a greater impact by visually recreating the experience of opening packs. It's one thing to see a number in text form and then actually feel like they are opening card packs online. Similar to the recently launched TCG Live Pokemon game, simulators offer collectors an accessible way to get in on the collectible hobby with almost no barriers to entry. This is where I think the pros of simulators come into play. Like I said before, there are a lot of folks that for one reason or the other are not able to financially commit to the trading card game. And trust me, I literally spent my entire childhood in basically the same exact phase. Hence why I'm a near 30-year-old talking about Pokemon cards on YouTube. So you get the idea, right? There are a lot of people who either perpetually or at one point in their life could not afford Pokemon cards. Simulators are a great way to make sure that you can also enjoy the trading card game, because you can open, you can collect, you can have all the fun you want, and at the end of the day you just save out and close your browser. And I think that's pretty neat and pretty powerful, because especially for folks who may not be as financially stable, it's a great way to enjoy the hobby in moderation. Again, to my point earlier, if you're just clicking there to pull the card, that's where you lose the benefit, because the idea of scarcity kind of diminishes with every pack that you open up. Because even so, theoretically, there's a million packs on that website that are free for you to use. And that's why I think the TCG Live Pokemon game, the one where they give out the code cards for in real life packs, is almost kind of a cool balance between the two. Because you have the ability to basically do all of your management and have it automated for you, right? When you go online, you enter in your code card, there's no pack to throw away, there's no bulk to sort, everything kind of just appears on screen. It still is fun. But at the same time, you're only limited to the amount of codes that you have. So I think that's another powerful aspect that, again, gives you that scarcity and gives you that sort of almost willing scarcity, which in this case is not a good thing, right? But because you only have so many, you appreciate each and every single one of those packs a little bit more, as opposed to ones on a free simulator where you can basically do it perpetually. You can go open up first edition packs, you can go open up, Deoxys packs and Skyridge packs. Who cares? Because they're free, right? And because they are free, there's no penalty or real weight to the decision you're making when you open those packs up. So, for the order placement of each card being accurate to the official product and the holographic artwork on rare cards, simulators have come a long way to replicate the TCG pack experience. The helpful websites are quickly becoming popular within the community. They give fans the tools and data to decide if products are worth investing in. Curious collectors about the new expansion can get a quick look at what they might open up without having to spend hundreds of dollars on Pokemon cards, and that's revolutionary for many. So I find it weird that the article wraps up by hanging its hat almost in an entirely different place than it spent the entire article writing through, and I think that just goes to highlight how very light and airy you have to be on this topic. Again, simulators are great because they give folks who may not be in a financial position to spend money on actual trading cards the opportunity to experience something similar. However, notice that this article really kind of pivots and says that, hey, you're giving fans tools and data needed to decide if products are worth investing in, which, by the way, most of the times Reddit will have that information readily available for you. And there are multiple different sources on Twitter and Instagram that will do the same by actually opening up packs of cards. So I'm not talking about educated guesses, I'm talking about opening up literally pallets of cards in order to generate bulk and singles that are then sold. So folks like Deriums, folks like Safari, who literally sit and live stream opening up pallets of booster boxes so that they have cards for launch for the actual TCG players. The other thing is that you can get a quick look at what might be in a set. But the problem with that is that if you're really looking to see what's in a set, you can just look at a card list. I mean, literally the day after the set comes out, if not before, there's going to be a full card list that gives you every single card that is in the complete set of Pokemon cards. All you need to do is look at the digital scans for a ETB, the little packet that comes with that. many of these different card sets will have a complete set list that you can reference in order to get a quick look at what you might, open up without having to spend $100. So many of the different arguments that they're kind of concluding with are things that are kind of weak. I think, frankly, the strongest benefit to the Pokemon TCG simulation business is that it's free and it gives people a chance to open up some packs and at least try to simulate what that process can be like. I think that experience of opening a pack and getting a rare card is also something that some people financially just aren't able to do. And so the thought that you might be able to experience something similar or quote unquote simulate it by using a simulator is, powerful, because it allows people an opportunity that I will be very frank in saying I didn't have as a kid growing up, right? Nowadays, a kid who, for one reason or another, can't get their hands on Pokemon TCG product will be able to go ahead and go online and start opening some packs should they choose to do so. Another big benefit to the TCG that I did promise I'd get to, when it comes to online stuff, guess what? It's online. One of the biggest things that is such a pain in the neck about the Pokemon TCG is the bulk, is the waste, and is the storage. These are three things many collectors will not get a chance to tell you about because they're some of the ugliest parts of this entire process. If you open up 200 booster packs, guess what you have? 200 wrappers that need to go in the garbage. You have 6 booster box, like the physical boxes that need to go in the garbage. You also have a ton of trading cards that need to be sorted by rarity and then sent to bulk, or at a minimum you need to sort through all those cards, figure out what's unique, put those in a binder, and then hope that you got it right. Oftentimes you end up making silly mistakes that end up meaning you need to reorganize your binder, etc., etc. You get where I'm going with this. Online simulators, they basically work like a checklist. So once you have one, it's checked off. All of that kind of process is automated for you, and that means it's a super sleek experience that really kind of takes away from a lot of the craziness. Personally, I think there's no replacement for having a in-person experience with the Pokemon trading card game. I think that was where Pokemon really kind of took off back in the late 1990s and early 2000s, and even up till today. In-person tournaments, that experience of pulling cards and trading and knowing fully well that there is this idea of scarcity is a very powerful thing that I think makes this experience one that can only be enjoyed in person. Once you get into the business of doing this on an enterprise level or on a widespread level, I think what ends up happening is you'll probably end up with a lot of tryhards who go on this not because they're unfortunate enough to not be able to get their hands on real product, but rather because they're just going to keep clicking the pull button until they pull a Rainbow Zard. That's fine, I guess, because there's no real impact, but I think one of the main things here is that you really want to save an experience like this one for folks who just aren't in a position to buy the real stuff. It can be great to simulate the experience, but I think my main point here today is that it cannot replace the experience because of the variety of factors that I have outlined today. But those are my thoughts, friends. Let me know yours down below, and thanks again for checking out another video. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, feel free to leave a like on the video, and hey, subscribe if you're not already to join the Gengar Gang. Other than that, friends, I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and we will talk soon. Peace!